You know, when we came up with the idea to do the Malibu Guru podcast, I thought, there's no way I'll be able to come up with enough to say for 100 episodes or even 50 episodes. But here we are at 150 episodes, and I can't believe it that people are listening and people are getting good information, and the Malibu Guru podcast is doing well. So I wanted to thank all of you for listening to the Malibu Guru podcast, for tuning into YouTube and watching what we've got to say. 150 episodes. I used to think that was an end state. It's just a start. I'm sure glad y'all showed up today to talk about partnerships. I've got two guys with me in the hangar that are just super, super guys that have been, I guess, a client of KC Aviation for a long time, almost 8 years, and the JetPROP owners. And these are two guys that can go deep into the world of partnership. I've got Sterling Stalder and Steve Buchanan. Welcome to the Malibu Guru podcast.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, it's good to have you both. I'm telling you, it's kind of fun today because in the morning when y'all showed up this morning, the weather was great. There was a few puffy clouds. There was no big thing. And I said, Steve, what do y'all want to work on? And Sterling said, I want to nail my landings down and get them better. And Steve said, I want to work with radar. Well, little did we know.
We got a chance today, didn't we?
We got our chance, yeah. You know, it was kind of fun as we took off and went up to, what did we go to, 10,000 feet or so with Sterling up front, and went and messed around with a basically what was a storm. And the storm revealed itself very clearly. It was perfect radar training because we were able to fly close to it, work the radar up and down. Then we climbed up to 15,500. Did the same thing, working with the radar as far as where to put it, how to position it, and how to make that image that you see with the downlinkable look like a radar. And
Sure.
how do you work that to make it a safe flight? It was kind of fun.
It was fun.
It was good.
Yeah. Not only that, we got to go up to high altitude in June, which makes it so much more comfortable. Cooler weather. Yeah. That's right. Hey, thanks for joining us for recurrent training.
Well, thank you.
And be able to talk about partnerships.
We've enjoyed it for the most part, I think.
You bet. No, it has its ups and it has its downs. But
No, Joe's a great instructor.
Well, that and the other thing is, I tell you, my schedule gets all screwed up all the time. And y'all have been flexible in scheduling. I tell you, I feel bad because I know there's some years where you had it scheduled and then it got moved and whatever. This year, doggone it happened again. I got another ferry trip. Y'all were generous with your scheduling, and I know your time is valuable. You were able to move things around, and I appreciate that. We got you in here. The insurance company as well was able to give you an extension. And it just worked out real well.
It worked out well.
Yeah, it's always been fun for y'all to come see me as a partnership because y'all fly together. In other words, when you come, you both come.
Right.
And one sits in the back, the other sits in the front. And we talked in a past podcast a couple of weeks ago with another person that came to train dual. Steve, let me just ask you, do you gain anything by sitting in the back seat?
Oh, sure. You don't have to do all the controls and all the heavy thinking. You can actually absorb it a little bit more. So, yeah, it's very, very helpful to me.
Yeah. Sterling, any thoughts about sitting in the back?
Absolutely. You know all the answers in the back seat. You're sitting there watching the guys go, well, just push that button, And so, because the pressure's not on you. It's exactly when you're in the hot seat, your brain doesn't work as well.
When the pressure's on, you don't perform as well. As an examiner, I can see this so many times that somebody will come in, and normally this is a person that's rock solid. They do really, really good. But then when they walk in the door for an examination, it's as if, but it's the same thing front seat. Front seat, you got to make things go down. Back seat, you're like, hey, you don't see that or that or that.
It's so easy to see, yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah, but that's excellent. I think it reinforces seeing it and then getting to watch it.
Yeah, and what we basically do when y'all come is we'll fly with one, and then the other person gets to watch them do it. Then we'll swap the seats, do the exact same thing, and it works out well in terms of I saw that, and I'm now
sure.
And then you swap them back up, and everything works out really, really well. Yeah, that's for sure. I got to throw another shout out at Steve because is it 8 years y'all owned this airplane?
I think so.
And it's just a stunningly beautiful JetPROP 2008 model with a dash 30, 2007 with a dash 35 engine on the front. You bought it at low hours. I forget how many hours, but it was just super low. Now you're at about 1,000 hours on the engine. Owned it for 8 years.
Right.
Just in a quick debrief, are you enjoying your JetPROP? I assume you are since you got 8 years.
Yeah, no, it's been a blast for me. I'm new into piloting and being a pilot.
Yeah.
I only really have flown the JetPROP for about 10, 11 years now. I've only been a pilot for 10 or 11 years.
Yeah.
So I have under 1,000 hours. But no, it's been excellent fun. I just love the freedom.
You got into the JetPROP at a very low hours. Matter of fact, if I even go into this world like today with the present insurance culture, if that's the right word, there's no way you'd get into a JetPROP.
Yeah.
But when you were able to get in back 8 years ago, there was a different culture that was out there, and you were able to get into the JetPROP
fairly quickly. And what I did was hire a private pilot that flew with me in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, and that's what allowed me to kind of bridge over into it.
Yeah.
So no, it's been excellent. You know, I love the freedom, rolling out on the tarmac with your bag and taking off and not going through TSA. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could never get in an airliner, I would do it. I tell people, if it's a domestic flight, I'm actually like spitting nails to go fly that thing.
Right.
If it's international, you're going on the other side of the world. I love the airliner. I think it's fantastic. But gosh, a short flight, you got a 400-mile flight, the airlines suck.
They do.
It's just.
You can leave on your schedule. You know, you don't have to try to fit into the airline schedule.
It's so interesting. My sister, who lives in Houston, her son is about to go to the University of Arkansas. And so you would think from Houston to Arkansas would be no big deal. But guess what? She bought her tickets, a month ago. And today is the day that there's just thunderstorms all over. There's a low pressure system out there, and private aviation, you have no trouble getting out. You just avoid that thunderstorm on that day at that small airport. But, that thing is going to literally wreak havoc on her life as she tries to get to Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? And it's just because once the airline world hits a snag, it's just like heavy traffic. You have you have a 4-lane highway that goes down to 1. You think there'd be no problem, but you'll be backed up 10 miles, for that thing. It's the same thing with the airline world. When Houston Intercontinental or any big airport gets hung up, now all of a sudden the right airplane's not in the right place, and then everybody's delayed, and they're all holding, and it's just and everything gets pushed back into the. It's just and if you're that person, and your flight gets canceled, anyway, it's a disaster. It's just general aviation's good. That's all there. That's the only thing.
Sure.
Anyway, I remember when you first came to me, Stephen. We were going to learn the JetPROP, and this was 8 years ago. I was not in the video world, and I remember you saying, "Can I video all of our training?" And I was like, "Oh no, man! I don't even think about this for a little bit." And you basically said, "Can I do it?" And I think I must have not been very affirming of that.
Majorly hesitated.
Yeah, as long as it didn't end up on social media, I think's what you tell me.
Well, that was the answer he finally came up with.
Yeah.
Well, but he hesitated.
Well, and I will tell you that even today, 8 years later, a random video showing up on social media is not what I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
mean,
get it.
I'm even careful. Yeah. I'm careful with my grandkids. I want to take a picture of my grandma. I don't put any pictures of my grandkids out there, although I'd love to. I don't put any of them out there because it's weird. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So anyway, but what that did, I guess I need to thank you, because back then, 8 years ago, you saw the value of video and training in being able to use that video, meaning to go back and see what you did. And although I'm sure that video completely sucked of me teaching something, you had it and it worked for you and it gained value. I will tell you, I use that. And today we use video on just about everything. We're using it right here today. So I guess I want to just thank you personally in the sense that, not that I'm doing video because of you, but I am. You saw the value in video training a long time ago. You saw the value in that.
Sure.
And I think that's cool. You have a bit of a vision. So thank you for that.
Oh, you bet. I think it's the way to go. It's for me. I'm very visual. So when I can look at it and process it, it helps me out a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
All right. While I got you talking, Steve, let's talk just a little bit. How'd you get into aviation?
Oh, gosh. Senior year in high school, I had an aeronautics class. And
which is cool. That where was it in Oklahoma? Because you're from
it's Oklahoma,
and that Oklahoma had an aeronautics class in high school. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I had the class, and the teacher was a pilot. So 2 or 3 of us got together and said, "Hey, what about if you take us flying sometime?" Because he was renting a plane over at Wally Post is where he was going. So we talked him into it. We paid for his gas, and he took us up, and we flew, and I loved it. So from that, I went to got 1 credit hour in college for getting my pilot's license. I've been a pilot since 1978.
All right.
So it's a couple years.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So you moved from college into, when did you buy your first airplane?
Oh, I'm going to guess 10 years after I was a pilot, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because you go through all the normal expenses, having to buy the sofa and the TV, and
Yeah.
you get married and all that stuff. So it was a little bit later when I bought it. But once I bought it, I've actually been when you said something about partnerships, I've been in 4 partnerships in airplanes.
Excellent.
And
from the very get-go. Matter of fact, have you ever owned an airplane outside of partnership?
No.
There you go. So this is going to be
kind of.
and it went terrible.
Oh, no. What happens is the first one was with a Warrior, and I had 2 or 3 other partners, and none of them were flying, so I ended up buying them out. So I was the single partner at that point. Then I had another partner in a Comanche 250, and he got out of it, so I was back to a single partner again. Then I got into another Comanche 250 with a friend that I still have today. Partnership, it's been wonderful. So that was my third one. So I'm still in partnership with that. Then I'm in partnership with Sterling on the JetPROP.
Perfect. Okay, Sterling, let's go with you. When did you get the aviation bug?
So right out of college I did, but once again got married. Dental practice.
These women are stopping the flying. What's up with that?
Major obstacles.
I was grandfathered in, by the way, on that because I already had my license before we got married, so it was just part of the deal.
Yeah, there you go. So took ground school, but busy practice, family starting, didn't really follow through.
Yeah.
But always got to fly with Steve because Steve's always had a plane and we'd go do things. And so we'd always
and
talk about
y'all been friends how long?
46 years.
All right.
Yeah,
I mean, since high school?
I mean, running buddies.
Before
it was
that.
college.
Really?
Yeah. We met before that, but we really started running around freshman year in college, my freshman year in college. And
Okay.
we've been fast friends and good buddies ever since.
Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
That's super
Sterling's
cool.
my best friend.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, no doubt, both ways. So I always got to fly with him, and he'd take me on the trips. And I remember in the first days, the map and the dead reckoning.
Yeah.
We flew around the water tower to make sure we're landing in the right.
I've
And I'm like,
done
what
that,
are you doing? And
I have done that.
No, and he says, no, this is protocol. This is what you do. So I had the bug, enjoyed it, and finally got to a point where I had some money and time, and he had the bug to get a JetPROP, and I go, I'd like to do that too. And so that's try to take the fast track to get there, and got there fairly quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, did you talk him into it? Were you like, hey,
No, he was.
here's
I
my
was surprised
friend?
he was wanting to do it. I said, "You're wanting to do what?" I said, "You don't have that many hours yet," and because I was
You were well
35
ahead.
years,
35 years into it.
Into flying, and he was not. And so I was a little bit worried about the insurance with it, but that all worked out fine.
It did.
But he did really well with it.
Yeah. That's good. It's good stuff. Okay. Let's talk about a partnership in terms of just the good stuff that happens with a partnership. What are the good aspects?
I'd say the shared cost. I mean, just, half the plane, versus the whole plane. Repairs, half the cost.
Yeah, when you get an annual and
you
it's
cut it into
$6,000 for the base rate or more,
Right.
and
It's
probably
gonna
more
Way
than
more.
that. Yeah,
Way more.
Okay, so I can remember telling people that it was $4,000 base cost. I think it's double that now.
I think a base cost is a loss leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got the base cost of an annual, but y'all are legitimately thinking, okay, divide by 2. Matter of fact, I talked to you about an avionics upgrade, and I said it cost you about $150,000. I bet you instantly you thought to yourself, 75.
Yeah,
Doable.
exactly.
Hey, I don't have to pony all that money up. Yeah, and the initial acquisition cost of an airplane, y'all,
All the above.
I assume, split that in half.
Right.
We did.
And
so-
hangars and
Yeah,
all that
so
stuff.
hangar annual cost,
Insurance.
insurance, split
Yeah.
that down the road, down the middle, 50-50. And
Right.
so you end up, with these fixed costs that are going to happen without even, you don't even fly an hour and you're paying for that.
Sure.
You're splitting all those.
Sure.
Right.
And that's probably the greatest benefit.
That's the greatest benefit.
Okay, I'm gonna go down a road. How much of it is a social thing? I know y'all were good friends, been friends for 45 years. How much of it is, hey, y'all get to do aviation together? Talk about that.
Well, I think it's a big part of it, and that's some of the best times. we get to go to MOPA together, and we get to go to
Sun and Fun.
Sun and Fun.
Sun and Fun's
Oshkosh.
like, yeah.
It
Oshkosh.
is a way that we get to spend time and do something we enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So yeah, so financially it's good. Socially, there's a positive. Do y'all have shared missions at all? Other than I guess there is one right there. It's Oshkosh, Sun and Fun, going to PMOPA, the convention.
Right.
There's 3 events that if you were to fly your airplane, y'all are now splitting those costs.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Can you think of another positive that comes from this?
I just enjoyed, like the training, going out and doing different things together. I think it's
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie is certainly that way.
Yeah.
The thing I had with my other partnerships is the people started falling off of it. They weren't flying it much. And so the first one I had two other partners, and one went out and another went out. Then I got the full share back again and did that one more time on another one. But I think when you get with somebody that you enjoy being with, I think it's, hey, you want to go flying today? Let's go practicing today, whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's enjoyable. And like I said, I don't recommend partnerships in most of my business things that I do.
Okay, I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah.
Do you do a partnership in other?
No. Well, yes, I have some partnerships on different things. But for the most part, I advise people not to do it, but unless you know the people pretty well.
Right.
And you just don't want to meet somebody and join a partnership. You want to know them pretty well, see what they're like in the good times and the bad times, and seeing pretty well how people are.
Sterling said something earlier that jogged my mind that made me want to do this podcast. You said when you get into a partnership, it's really like a
marriage.
Talk to me more.
I was telling Joe I've had a good partnership because I'm in private practice dentistry. I'm retired now. But in private practice dentistry, I had a partner. My first partner was a horrible experience, and it ended extremely poorly. But I still believed in the concept of it. To me, it made sense. The second partner I had was a phenomenal partner. And we were very well matched, and it worked well, and all kinds of benefits. He could cover the office when I wasn't there, and I could cover the office when he wasn't there. It was a great dovetail of our talents and abilities, and it worked phenomenally well. So,
Yeah.
But it's very important who you partner up with.
I think
it's not just partnerships are great.
So not just partnerships are great. And I will tell you another thing that I see a lot happen is people that can't afford a full airplane getting into a partnership. Tell me about a feeling y'all have about the other ability to perform in accordance with expectations. What I mean by that, it's a tough question. I want to give the question. If Sterling had to get out, you could probably afford the airplane.
Yeah, I'd do whatever he needed to do. I mean, that's
Same?
Yeah, I don't know if I could.
But would you think that he would do you wrong?
No, not at all. And would do everything I could do to make it right. But no, it's a good point. Where I thought you were kind of head with that is when things need to be done on the plane, that our philosophies are pretty similar in alignment. We're like, hey, let's do this. What do you think? Most of the time, it's like 99% of the time we go, well, yeah, let's do it. You know?
Yeah.
Where I can't remember an instance we had like, hey, I want to do this. And Steve says, no, I'd really like to do this to the plane.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't want, let's not do that. So it's never been that. So we've been very much alignment.
Okay.
That way.
And that's kind of what I was talking about is know your partner.
Yeah, because you're marrying that partner and you're going to walk.
Exactly.
Yeah. And,
exactly.
I mean, they're going to snore at night. If it's a real marriage, they're going to snore at night. They're going to use the bathroom. You're going to say what things, all the bad parts about having a marriage. And I'm using it metaphorically, but the idea behind it is you have a partner, and their seating position's different than yours. They're going to leave the seat like it was. Did they clean the French fries out of the seat? Did they, did their kids spill a Coke in the back of the airplane? Did they leave the airplane like you want it? Mm-hmm. And
good point.
There can be some places there, but I assume y'all looking out for the other person.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had any issues like that at all.
Yeah. Kids are grown, so it's not.
Yeah.
No, but that's a good point. But philosophically, and just because we've been friends so long, I said we're very much in alignment that way.
Yeah.
So that has never been an issue for us.
Okay, talk about scheduling problems.
That hadn't been an issue for us.
No, not at all. And in fact, all the partnerships I've had, I've never had a scheduling problem. when we first sat down, the very first flight that I made, I said, okay, you're going to get these days and you're going to get these days. And what I found out was nobody was flying on any of those days. So
it was all good.
Yeah, it was all good. Anybody could fly it anytime they wanted to. So, we overthought it. And the second time I didn't do it as much, and the other partners didn't fly it that much.
Right.
So the third partnership that I'm still in today is if it's available, we just jump in and go. And when Sterling and I do it, we have a Google Calendar between us. So if we want to put something down, we'll put it on the calendar.
Reserve it.
So if I'm going to Missouri or Florida or somewhere like that, I block off so many days, and I'll usually say, hey, I'm going to do this. Then we'll put it on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly. How do you have a agreement between you, like a partnership agreement between you two, written down, exit plans, all that kind of stuff?
I think so.
Maybe it's been 8 years ago. Well, we hired an attorney and did all the legal stuff, so I really don't remember.
Yeah, so there is one somewhere. In other words, you put up a fence.
We did what we thought was probably the right thing to do, and like I said, I don't think we really need the contract between us because we're going to look out for the other person. But I think we did that because it was recommended to do that. So, and normally I would do that on most purchases, but Sterling's, I've known him forever. So,
yeah, exactly. There is the thing about what Dave Ramsey calls the D's, death, divorce, disinterest, things of this nature that, if something happens, how are you going to deal with this? And so I think having a written agreement is always a good plan.
I think
and
so.
Revisiting it.
But what happens is once something happens to one of us, then that family member gets involved in it, and that's where the question comes up on what happens and who gets to make those decisions on those things. So it's not so much between us. I think it's between possibly family later on would be the question. Right,
exactly. And then the other part is if somebody wants out, how do you get out? Meaning, let's say Sterling wanted out, and now what's 50% of the value of the airplane? Now you got to go figure that out, and there can be challenges in that respect. I think one of the things that makes a good partnership is a good exit plan. How do we exit and remain friends so that no one feels slighted or against or anything of that nature?
To me, it's just an airplane. It's not, So it's I'm not putting that much.
You wouldn't let an airplane get in between a 45-year friendship.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the thing. And just when I did the other two that I got out of, we just looked at kind of what was fair. And I said, I want to buy it at a reasonable value. And I said, what about this? And we came together on it. It was fine. Yeah. At that point, they were ready to get out anyway. Yeah. Because they were wanting to probably use the money somewhere else because they weren't flying at the time.
I think that is the key. To me, it's like a marriage. Choose wisely what you're going to get into at the very beginning. It can be messy getting out of it, but it can be done well, done right. It can be fantastic. Done poorly, done with somebody that has malicious intent or, something of that nature, and it just ends up being a complete and utter disaster. So I tell people all the times, be careful with partnership. It either needs to be really good with somebody you like, line schedules. That financially, it's not a necessity. Right. You're not going to hit. If you hit I'm making it up, a $50,000 hot section inspection that you had to do. Can both of you afford to get out of that fix? If there's a $150,000 avionics upgrade you want to do, are you both in agreement? Hey, I want to do this. I want to make this happen. And if you want to get out of the equation, can you get out and be peaceful about it? Anyway, I think y'all are cool in a lot of respects because you got into a JetPROP early. You've done it well for 8 years, and you've given a lot of wisdom to people that are out there considering a partnership and thinking about what is there wisdom in this particular scenario. So,
well, I think you learn a lot from the other persons and what we were talking about. And something comes up, I'll just run it by him on hey, on ForeFlight, I was trying to get my fuel prices to download. I couldn't get them to download. Could you get them to download? It's just things like that.
Collaborate.
Little things that it's always nice to have a partner to go back to and just, hey, have you run into a situation before?
That's right.
You're not on an island.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it is difficult at times to do things on your own because you're all by yourself. I was thinking about a good metaphor to this, and this is weird, but I've done CrossFit for a long time as far as a workout. And then, there's 10, 15, 20 people showing up at the same time doing the same workout, whatever's written up on the wall. And there's other people to do it with you. And there's camaraderie that comes from that. There's community that happens. And I've recently started doing a little workout thing, which is on my own in my own little place, and it's all by myself. And it's the hardest part of that is I don't have that other person to do it with.
Sure.
And so I end up doing it with less intensity and less everything. Although I like it, and there's advantages otherwise, there is a distinct advantage to community. And so when the community is involved also in aviation, in other words, your best friends are, doing the same thing together, it's just got to be cool.
Well, it's a break from the business because, the business I'm thinking about pretty much all the time, it seems like, but, from we get away and do these types of things. So
Disengagement's a good way
it's a
to
brain
disengage.
drain from the business, and it's an opportunity to get away and do something you really enjoy doing.
Right.
With people you enjoy doing it with.
That's right.
So it's
that's good disengagement. Meaning, as a dentist and as a businessman that does land development and things of this nature, it's a completely different world to be in here, where the principles apply, but what you're doing is different, and therefore you get disengaged from the other. Do this, and it makes
It refreshes your brain.
It makes a better life.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you're a better human when you have that kind of when you have friendships and you have shared interests and you have multiplied interests, life just gets better.
It's all good.
I agree.
Sterling Stalder, Steve Buchanan, thanks for being a part of the Malibu Guru Podcast and Casey Aviation. Appreciate you coming to see me.
Thank you, Joe. We've enjoyed our relationship with you for sure.
Yeah, no, it's
been great.
Been fantastic. If you've enjoyed this show about partnerships, I hope you'll look back on other topics that we end up doing here. And if you have a topic you'd like to hear about on the Malibu Guru Podcast, just send your request in to clint@flycasey.com, CLINT@flycasey.com. Clint loves getting hate mail and everything else, so just line all that up. Joe Casey with Casey Aviation, signing off.